build that up. So this particular shape just kind of sketched out, and like I said, I'm going to make it a little bit larger based off of a hexagon, still using a 30-degree angle for that section, 30-degree line, and that's going to build up this piece so it can kind of amplify that. I'm just going to use a straight edge just to get it started for a center line, just using the base of the triangle at the bottom of the paper just to simulate that center and just to help me build that up. And again, making this just a little bit larger than what I have on the page. These templates again have the hash lines for the centerpiece, so that's why I put the center line that's out there. I'm just going to make this a little bit larger. So this will be the overall size of this. And if I did try to use the triangle, I'm going to freehand this in, but you can see that you can use the base of this triangle to help you build some of these lines up there. It is a hexagon, so there's going to be 6 sides to it. So just going to simulate that section, but here's the angle, setting it up here, going from direction angle to angle. And when you see it, this side would be parallel to the front view, and the opposite is going to be coming across the top. So at least you can see the bend, at least from the bolt itself. And again, this part that has the elliptical shape, I'm going to give it a horizontal line coming across. And since any ellipses that fall in this plane, we use this cross line to help indicate where that's at. So this one is listed here. I may put one that's just a couple smaller inside. Just drop this down a little bit. And it's not a true perspective, but it's giving the illusion, so you can always adjust it or move it back a little bit, which I'm going to do, and drop that in there. So it creates this illusion of the metal going right over the top. Whichever ellipse I use for here, whatever curve I make, I'm going to try to make it a perfect edge. There's no straight corners to that. And so this time I can drop it down a little bit further as it goes through part. And I can also use the guide just to help me get some equal measurements through this. So I can use the scale to drop this down. Just going to go on the center line and make it certain marks here. So I'll know that I can just drop that piece down. So here it is. Just drop it down to that level. I'm going to make this relatively heavy so I can see it and draw with it pretty easily. So it's just giving that illusion of those threads that then can be divided, or they can be illustrated from that section. To carry off the illusion, I'm just going to offset it a little bit. So here's this piece. Just going to move these so that they're all going down the same line. I can create a center line for it. And just drop this off this edge here. And each one will match it down here. So I'm just using this part just to help me with the shading. So these pieces will be in shadow. And as I follow this part, just kind of getting a straight edge. It's going to curve a little bit as long as it goes around this tangent. Find the midpoint here, and this is where these curve. Kind of building that up. This has a little curve at the top. So again, if you think of this as the computer using the corner widget to curve all of those, gives you that kind of illusion and builds that up. So you kind of have the linear section drawn, taking a look at the graphic that has the highlight to it, everything that's bent. So this is going to have a slight curve. again, the nice thing about the template, if you go back to using it to help you shade, you can just lay it right on there. It makes it a little easier to create the shadow for that piece. Okay, so then everything's kind of laid in place, and since it is a metallic piece, you're trying to follow the reflections created by that, again using a straight edge to push it across. Move this up a little bit. Just going dark to light, just to give almost the gradient edge that you see. It has this straight line right down the middle. And again, the values of the metal a little bit of reflection there. And when it gets inside of this section, you can take a look at the reflection right along here. And this one here, you can use the template there. And these ellipses I made with the shadows, just going to emphasize that going from dark to light. And it gives a little more depth into the hollow section there. Close that piece up. So again, if you see a pattern that helps, these threads kind of create a pattern, and it helps with the design. I'm showing that depth. Now you can use just freehand draw this, you don't necessarily need the template. But the template forces you to get a full range of ellipses to see exactly how far your freehand one has to go. And builds that up there. inside of that. So again, it has the repeated pattern, the textures that show just with the elliptical shape. Helps you get lined in there.